Alright, today we're going to work on Chapter 1, Section 7, Multiplying and Dividing Integers. If you do not know what an integer is, go back to my Chapter 1, Section 5 or Section 6 video. I explain what those are. You should know what they are by now. But here is something that's going to be very helpful for you moving forward. I actually don't like thinking of it this way. If you think this is easier for you, go ahead and write this down. But here's another way that I like to think about it. With either multiplication or division, this will work. If you have two positives, the answer will remain positive. The dot in between those two plus signs just means multiplication. So if you're multiplying two positives, you're going to get a positive. If you multiply two negatives, you're going to get a positive. The way some people remember that is by taking two symbols like this and rotating this one into this one. It turns it into a positive sign. And lastly, negative times a positive or a positive times a negative. These are essentially the same exact thing. You will always end in a negative result. So we're just going to go through a bunch of examples and go through some situations that you're going to run by. One thing I want to note, however, in the past, there has been a lot of issues with addition and subtraction, going back to addition and subtraction after doing multiplication, or vice versa. This one seems to be the one that trips a lot of kids up. If you recall, back in adding integers, if you add two numbers that are the same sign, the answer is always negative. It always is that same sign. Notice you have two negatives adding and giving you a negative result. And notice back over here with multiplication and division, two negatives gives you a positive result. So this just needs to be a mental note to yourself that multiplication and addition are two separate things and they require two different methods. So keep that in mind. Keep addition and multiplication separate. They are two different entities that require two different methods and ways of solving. So try to keep these two straight. So going through a couple examples now, we have, for number 1, 3 times 8. But most importantly, we have a positive 3 and a positive 8. What I like to do is just write down the sign of the number before I even think about what the product is. Positive, positive. The first thing I think about is that my answer is going to be a positive. Then I go back and look at the numbers. 3 times 8, that's 24. If you write plus 24, I'm not going to count that wrong. If you can just do this in your head and know that it's going to be 24, either one of these two answers would be acceptable. Looking at number 2, again, positive times a negative, I immediately come over and write that my answer will be a negative answer. Then I go back, 4 times 3, that is 12, move on. So this is the way I'd like you to think about these products. For number 3, negative 5 times a negative 8, right off the bat, I know that's going to give me a positive result. 5 times 8, therefore, is 40. Again, 4 plus 40 or 40 all on its own, either one of those would be acceptable. So at least for now, for these next couple of days, always just kind of get yourself in that mode of writing the symbol down or the sign of your answer first and then going to find the product. Moving on to some division problems. Again, 12 is positive, 4 is positive. My result is going to be positive. No ifs, ands, or buts. 12 divided by 4 I know is 3. Move on. Number 5, positive 20 divided by negative 5. Positive, negative, my result will be a negative. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And lastly, number 6, negative divided by a negative. 2 negatives make a positive. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. Notice the difference between number 6 and number 5. Number 5 has 1 negative, number 6 has 2 negatives, so the answers are different. We're just going to go through these next few examples pretty quick. If you need some time between, make sure you pause the video. But for number 7, positive divided by a positive is a positive. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Or 18 divided by 3, however, is 6. Number 8, that dot again means to multiply. I forgot to mention number 7, this fraction really just means to divide. Please don't get that confused. All fractions are just division problems. For example, 1/2, that is really 1 divided by 2, giving you 0.5. So please be aware, all fraction bars really mean to divide. Number 8, 5 times negative 3, I know it will be a negative 15. And lastly, number 9, negative 30 divided by negative 10 is a positive 3. We're going to slide on to some problems here that you're going to see in your homework, which will need you to simplify before taking your product. Using your operations, or your order of operations rather, you should know that you need to do the parentheses before you do your multiplication and division. So for number 13, you notice two integers, 4 and 2. If you'd like to go to the method of leave, add, change again, I would recommend that. Leave the 4, add, and change. Leave, add, change gives us 4 plus a negative 2. That gives us 2. I know that one was an easy one, but it might be useful in the future here. 8 times 2, 2 positives, gives me a positive 16. Number 14, leave, add, change. That's 2 plus a negative 4, giving me a negative 2. Positive 8 times a negative 2, I know will result in a negative 16. And the last few examples you can try on your own if you need to. I'm going to move along. We have one more word, or one word problem here that you will see. All you need to do is determine whether you need to multiply or divide. Once you've determined that, the numbers become pretty easy to work with. Amy and 5 friends buy a bag of candy that has 36 pieces in it. If they split it evenly, how many pieces does each person get? Now this problem is meant to trick you a little bit because you only truly see two numbers, 36 and 5. So your first instinct may be to evenly split, thinking, I need to divide these two numbers, which is true. However, read the question one more time. It says, Amy and 5 friends buy a bag of candy, which means not 5 people, we actually have 6 people that we need to split this candy up between, which makes this problem a whole lot easier to do. We need to take our 36 and divide it into 6 equal portions, which we all know is 6 pieces. That is it for Chapter 1, Section 7, Multiplying and Dividing Integers. Good luck!